Welcome into Krail's Corner again. Big week for the Wildcats, Coach Krail. How do you feel this week?
Wow, great. I'm sure we're going to talk about last week first
Of course.
get into that game. But, with a holiday weekend, and it turned out we had to switch our schedule around. So we're scrambling a little bit right now, getting ready for game number 3.
Yeah, so the big story, obviously, the 35-34 win over Liberty. Talk me through that first half. I want to split it into halves because they're very different.
Sure.
How did that first half go? How did that feel?
Yeah, just to kind of preface everything, we had a rough week of practice with sickness, and we had 6 guys that didn't even make the trip. And so, that limited us a little bit roster-wise. And so we had a lot of guys playing their first varsity game, essentially.
Sure.
And so there were some butterflies and some growing pains in the first half. We turned the ball over 4 times and, managed to get in at halftime just down 2 scores, which was great. I mean, we told the guys this at halftime, we played about as bad as we could play a first half, and yet we're still right in the game. And so, it's just a case of maybe trying to do too much, throwing the ball in crowded spaces and, forcing things rather than just kind of taking what they give us defensively. So it was a rough first half. They hit some big plays on us defensively, and, our defense has been so good of late over the last few years. And so we gave up, some long plays that were a little unsettling because we haven't done that. But the guys really responded in the second half. I mean, we held them to, just 1 score in the second half.
Yeah, so real impressive to hold them to 1 score in the second half.
Right.
14 points in the final quarter. What was the game plan going into that fourth quarter comeback? Because that's impressive to do.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Obviously at halftime we go in and the message to the guys is, hey, we played about as bad as we could, like I said, and we're in this. So let's just keep fighting and scratching. And, we had a hope and a plan to come out to start the third quarter, and we didn't, and had to give the ball away. And their second play, I think it was on that drive, they hit a long pass for a touchdown. So here we are, 34-14 with about 8 minutes to go in the third, and it's like, oh, man, all right, well, let's just keep playing. Yeah. And, what happened on the very next point after is we blocked the PAT.
Yeah.
And obviously that turned out to be the difference in the game, 35-34. So just a real tribute to the guys and our coaches, for that matter. The assistant coaches just kept coaching and stayed positive, and the guys just kept fighting. And really, in the end, it wasn't so much throwing the ball over the place, but really our running game started clicking.
Yeah.
And Boxer had a great second half, probably had 90 yards in the second half alone, and scored 3 touchdowns in the second half, had a kick return for a touchdown in the first half. So it was just a real testament to the guys, and the message was really clear. Let's just keep playing and see what happens.
I mean, it's a great game to watch when you have that scratch and claw mindset when these guys are coming back. And we're going to keep saying the names, Boxer and Jalen. Those guys both played out, and they're both incredible athletes.
Right.
And to their tribute, they embody what this Wildcat thing is with the scratching and the clawing and the consistent work and the effort forward. Last episode we talked about the QB situation. The QB room is ever changing this season.
Right.
Had 2 quarterbacks go in this time, Scotty Brennan and AJ Maynard. We talked about the decision. You wanted to get Scotty in. He got in.
Right.
What was the decision at halftime, and how was the decision made to put Scotty in when you did?
It's just a discussion amongst Coach DeMartini and myself, really. He coaches our quarterbacks and has a lot of say in the rotation, and he just felt like Scotty was in a better place. AJ struggled in the first half, and it was such a contrast to the first game when he was lights out. Friday night at Liberty, he kind of forced some balls and, just wasn't himself. And so we just thought, hey, we got a good quarterback on the bench. Let's see if we can get a spark going. And, as I mentioned, the running game was good. Scotty did make some clutch throws, in that second half to kind of keep drives alive. But it's a team effort, right? And having 2 really good quarterbacks is a nice luxury to have.
Yeah. So. Brilliant game. This next week, so we had Live Oak on the schedule at the start of the season.
Right.
Who are we playing now? Talk us through this team. Live Oak's a known opponent. We've played them before.
Right.
I haven't even heard of these guys. Can you talk me through who they are?
So Live Oak's a team we've played for a number of years. They're down in Morgan Hill. Their head coach is a really good friend of mine, and he called on Saturday and kind of shared a situation that they were having internally there, and basically called me yesterday and said, Mark, I don't think we're going to be able to field a team. We have 14 guys at practice today. So we immediately started looking on the internet for games wanted, and we found Grant High School out of Sacramento, which is just a really, really good football program and school with a rich tradition there. Just athletes all over the place and a lot of speed, and so it's going to be a great challenge. We did just find out that we're going to host the game, so that's great. We don't have to get on another 2-hour bus ride, to faraway places, but it's good they're going to come down here, and we're going to tee it up and see what happens.
So. Two great games back-to-back weeks. You told us who they are. How are we going to beat them? That's the big question. What's the game plan going forward?
I think, hopefully we learn from Liberty in that we have to keep teams away from making big plays, right? If you make a high school team march 12 to 15 plays on a drive, there's a really good chance something's going to break down, right? It's those 60-yard passes over the top with a broken coverage that just ignites the other side and lets, the score kind of get out of hand perhaps. So that's number one. I think for us on offense is ball control. Anytime you've got an explosive group on the other side, you want to keep them on the sideline, and you do that by controlling the ball, controlling the clock, maybe trying to shorten the game a little bit strategically that way. And then obviously playing good special teams. We talk about it often. We blocked a PAT. We blocked a punt last week that gave us a 20-yard field. So all those things kind of played into a successful night at Liberty, and we're going to need that, here Friday night against Grant for sure.
Who do you expect to show out? Just drop some player names for me.
Oh, boy.
Let's just see.
Well, we have Henry Masters back. Henry was one of our guys, two-way guy that didn't play last week. Lyndon Bailey was another one who's offensive, defensive lineman who was out. We get those two guys back this week, and they're feeling pretty good in terms of health. So, our hope is that they come in and complement what we've been doing. Leighton Doslack was kind of thrown in to play middle linebacker. First game ever starting. He's a senior and played really well. So we're hoping, to build on that. The quarterback situation as of right now, it looks like AJ is going to start the game. And hopefully he gets his confidence back and just stays within the realm of what we're trying to do and not get outside of it and do crazy things with the ball, right? Take care of it, make them stop us rather than us kind of self-inflicting, as we talked about, we're watching film with the guys. So hopefully those guys, have a good outing and see what happens.
I'm excited for Friday night. I'd love to extend it to 3-0. I know the rest of the student section is going to be there. We're going to be hyped. Helmfield is going to be hopping. Friday night, be there. We will have a great game against, what is it?
Grant High School from Sacramento.
Yep. Is that the first time we've played them in your history playing them?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah. Wow. Great school. They're gonna bring the energy. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a great game.
Awesome.
Tune in next week for another Krail's Corner episode. We are excited to have Coach Krail back again. Hopefully after a win, looking at a 3-0 season. Catch us next time.